Oh, my revolutionary rakes and rebellious rakes. Imagine storming the barricades of 1830 Brussels, not for liberty, but for a licensed liaison in a state-sanctioned brothel, complete with mandatory medical pokes and prods that make modern STI tests seem positively pampering. In the Belgian Revolution era, when Catholics shook off Protestant Dutch rule only to cling tighter to carnal controls, sex became a battlefield darker than any opera house riot. If today's dating disasters feel regulated, wait till you hear how these fledgling Belgians turned passion into a policed profession, with hypocrisy hotter than a French cannon. Before we barricade ourselves into this boulevard of bedroom brutality, dearest dissenters, smash subscribe if you're revolting for more Regency risque revelations from revolutionary realms, and whisper in the comments, are you rioting through this from a bustling Brussels bistro or a tranquil Toronto terrace? And is it revolutionary rum hour or dawn's defiant espresso in your domain? Ah, my audacious audience of amorous anarchists, let us unfurl the first forbidden folio from Belgium's revolutionary romp, 1830 to 1839, when the southern provinces, chafing under Dutch William I's Protestant yoke, erupted in operatic outrage and birthed a Catholic kingdom amid cannon fire and constitutional confetti. Picture it, Brussels, August 1830. The opera La Muette de Portici ignites riots, barricades rise like misplaced bedposts, and while liberals and Catholics unite against northern tyranny, the real darkness lurks in the shadows of sexuality, regulated, repressed, and rife with revolutionary irony. Brutal? Positively barbaric. This was no free love frenzy. Nay, it was French Napoleonic regulationism clinging like a venereal vine, Catholic piety policing passions, and a newborn nation navigating naughtiness with the precision of a provisional government. Commence with the crown jewel of controlled carnality, prostitution, that regulated racket inherited from French rule and embraced post-independence like a shotgun suitor. After the 1830 revolution secured liberty, sort of, the French-era system persisted. Brothels tolerated, prostitutes registered, mandatory health checks in hospitals to curb the pox that plagued ports and provinces. In bustling Brussels and Antwerp, maisons de tolérance flourished under municipal oversight. Women issued identity cards by 1844, but whispers of earlier enforcement. Twice-weekly inspections probing for syphilis with speculums that'd make a modern gynecologist wince. Pamphlets from pious quarters decried these dens of iniquity, yet bourgeois gentlemen patronized them discreetly, irony dripping thicker than candle wax. Modern comparison? It's like OnlyFans with obligatory STD swabs and state stamps, consent commodified, women warehoused for male convenience. Courtship in this Catholic cauldron was chaperoned chastity on steroids. Deeply devout Belgium, overwhelmingly Roman Catholic post-secession, viewed premarital peccadillos as mortal sins, sermons thundering against fleshly fires, while arranged marriages forged alliances faster than treaties. Young lovers met at church fetes or family-supervised soirees, stolen glances the height of scandal, bundling unknown in this urbanizing land. Illegitimacy rates simmered low compared to Nordic neighbors, proof of pious pressure or pragmatic prudence. Unwed mothers faced social exile, church penance, or workhouse woes. One anonymous 1830s broadsheet from Liège gossiped, in revolution's roar, virtue endures, yet in brothels the mighty procure. Compared to today's apps, swipe right without sin, but back then, a wrong glance meant familial flogging figurative. The brutality bloomed in punishments for fornication, that catch-all for unwed whoopee or adulterous antics under lingering Napoleonic codes. Adultery, especially female, drew double standards dagger sharp. wives pilloried socially, husbands winking at mistresses. Though criminal penalties softened post-revolution, Catholic confessionals extracted emotional eviscerations, public shaming in parishes rivaling revolutionary tribunals. In rural Wallonia and Flanders, folk justice lingered, charivari mobs mocking offenders with pot-banging parades. Irony abounds. Revolutionaries cried liberty, yet chained libidos to church and code. Women bearing burdens like modern Me Too without the movement. Class cleaved the customs cruelly. Bourgeoisie in Brussels aped Parisian propriety, chaperoned balls where a waltz was wicked, while workers in industrializing Antwerp sought solace in regulated red lights. Post-1830, as Leopold I ascended, the new constitution touted freedoms, but bedroom ones? Nay. Catholic influence loomed large, clergy counseling conjugal duty only. Homosexuality, hushed heresy, lingered criminalized, sodomy punishable until mid-century reforms, whispers of trials trampling lives in shadows, pamphlets pilloried unnatural acts as un-Belgian, irony in a nation born of unnatural union dissolution. Revolutionary fervor fueled fleeting freedoms, barricade romances bloomed amid chaos, volunteers bundling in haste, conception spiking in 1830-31 heat. Yet dawn brought discipline, provisional government prioritizing order, morality manifestos mirroring military ones. Urban anonymity in growing Brussels bred brothel booms, French émigrés and Dutch deserters swelling clienteles. Modern parallel? War zone hookups on apps during crises, passion amid peril, regret in retrospect. As independence solidified by 1839's Treaty of London, sexual darkness deepened in regulation's grip. Women in brothels inspected invasively, privacy pulverized for public health. Abolitionist whispers stirred mid-century, but 1830s embraced control, ironic for liberty's offspring. Gossip rags, precursors to tabloids, skewered elite hypocrisies. Barricades for freedom, brothels for fun. Vive la Belgique. Catholic lens amplified atrocities, confessionals coerced contrition, priests policing pillows. High maternal mortality brutalized outcomes, illegitimates shunned, mothers marginalized. Yet glimmers of wit, women navigating networks, some turning tables on clients. Thus, barricades our first brush with Belgian bedroom brutality, where revolution freed the nation but fettered the flesh. Stay tuned for Part 2's adulterous armistices and regulated randiness that rivaled any royal scandal. Darlings, fancy declaring independence only to declare war on wandering wives. Adultery punished with piety's pitchfork in a nation barely born. In revolutionary Belgium, infidelity wasn't just naughty, it was near treasonous, with Catholic claws deeper than Dutch dragoons. If modern affairs end in divorce court drama, back then they concluded in confessional crucifixion. Welcome to Part 2 of our darkest desires down revolutionary lanes. Delectable devotees of delicious dirt, we reoccupy the ramparts of revolutionary randiness, where post-1830 Belgium, Catholic core throbbing against Protestant past, treated adultery with Teutonic thoroughness tempered by Gallic regulation. From opera riots to 1839's treaty, sexual scandals simmered like suppressed insurrections. Irony in a liberty-loving land, lashing libidos. No nationwide penal code yet, but Napoleonic legacies lingered. Adultery criminal, double standards savage. Adultery, Lermont's lingering ghost, skewed gendered grotesquely. Wives caught risked reputation ruin, social stocks, church exclusion. Husbands, winks and whispers. Catholic confessionals brutalized souls, public penance parading penitence, scarlet shame sans letter. In Brussels salons, gossip pamphlets proliferated, revolution for rights, restraint for wives, yet husbands roam nights. Modern echo? Celebrity cheating scandals, but without eternal damnation threats. Rural rates revealed repression. Isolation bred indiscretions, but church vigilance vicious. Unwed conceptions led to forced marriages or foundling floods. Illegitimates stigmatized, mothers marginalized in Magdalene-like asylums precursors. Irony, revolutionaries united Catholics and liberals against Dutch, yet divided on desire. Clerics thundering, liberals lurking in brothels. Urban underbelly, Brussels and Antwerp brothels boomed post-revolution, regulated rigorously, women registered, inspected invasively for venereal villains. Mandatory hospital checks humiliated, speculum probes punishing privacy. 1830s saw systems solidified, municipal oversight masking moral malaise. Pamphlets decried state-sanctioned sin, yet elites indulged, hypocrisy heroic. Punishments psychological primarily, excommunication threats eviscerating eternally. Physical rare post-Napoleon, but social savage, families fracturing, duels whispered despite bans. Class clashed, peasants faced parish pillories, bourgeoisie bribed silence. Homosexuality hushed horror, sodomy shadows lingered, prosecutions rare but ruinous, careers crushed, exiles enforced. Catholic condemnation cruel, unnatural acts unnatural in a new nation. As Leopold's reign rooted, scandals symbolized strife, Dutch remnants accused corrupting, yet Belgian brothels Belgian bred. Reforms crept, penal softening, but brutality in inspections, women warehoused, autonomy annihilated. Revolutionary romances, barricade betrothals hasty, passions post-war policed, high illegitimacy fleetingly, piety prevailing. So surrenders our adulterous assault, where Belgian betrayals proved passion's price profoundly pious. Subscribe for Part 3's brothel battles and forbidden follies fraying the fledgling flag. Envision a revolutionary republic rejecting sodomy yet regulating strumpets. Talk about darkest doublethink. As we climax our Belgian bedroom barrage, recall, today's taboos have therapy, theirs had tribunals and torment. Savage sexuality in a state of sanctity, proving Belgians birthed independence but buried desires deeper. Beloved bearers of bawdy barricades, we conclude our caustic chronicle of Belgian Revolution, 1830 to 1839 carnal darkness, where independence ignited but intimacy imprisoned in Catholic chains and regulatory shackles. From riotous birth to treaty-trimmed maturity, darkest practices veiled in virtue, regulated prostitution, repressed urges, folklore fears. Dearest darlings, still panting from our previous assaults on Belgian bedroom barricades, we now extend our scandalous siege into the uncharted aftermath, the feverish final flickers of the revolutionary decade, and the lingering libidinal liberties that refuse to be fully fettered by the fledgling state's Catholic constitution. Ah, the exquisite irony! As Leopold I solidified his throne and the great powers guaranteed neutrality in 1839, Belgium basked in hard-won independence, yet the darkest sexual practices persisted in the shadows. Unregulated street walking that evaded the brothel bureaucracy, clandestine clerical indiscretions that mocked the very confessionals they manned, and a burgeoning black market of desire that turned the revolution's cries of liberté into the most hypocritical whisper. This bonus part, my wicked whisperers, is the unapologetic epilogue, the unregulated excesses, the transitional torments, and the brutal bedroom battles that foreshadowed a nation forever torn between piety and pleasure. Let us linger longest on the unregulated underbelly that bloomed like weeds through the cracks of the official system. Street prostitution. That dangerous dance evading municipal registration and medical mandates. While licensed maisons de tolérance offered safe sin under state surveillance, the streets of Brussels and Antwerp teemed with unregistered femmes publiques, women driven by poverty, war's economic wreckage, or sheer defiance, who operated in alleyways, cafes, and transient taverns. No mandatory health checks here, no identity cards, just raw risk and ruthless reality. Syphilis ravaged unchecked, turning passion into a potential death sentence slower than any Dutch cannon. Anonymous pamphlets from moralist quarters thundered warnings. From barricades to boulevards, virtue falls, yet the unregistered rise. Modern comparison? It's the original gig economy of vice. Uber for unprotected encounters, where freedom meant fatality, and women bore the brunt without benefits. As the provisional fervor faded, clerical hypocrisy emerged as the darkest drama of all. Belgium's overwhelming Catholicism wasn't just cultural, it was constitutional, with the church wielding influence over education, marriage, and morality. Yet priests, those supposed shepherds of souls, were whispered to stray spectacularly. Gothic broadsheets circulated discreetly in Liège and Ghent, dripped delicious sarcasm about confessional confessions, curates seducing parishioners in the very booths meant for contrition, or rural abbés fathering flocks larger than their official ones. One infamous 1830 scandal, immortalized in underground verse, involved a Brussels Monsignor caught with a novice, hushed with Vatican bribes, while the woman vanished into obscurity. Irony thicker than communion wine, the revolution expelled Protestant overlords only to enthrone Catholic ones who preached chastity by day and chased it away by night. Compared to today's televangelist takedowns, same sanctimony, same sordid secrets. The turn-of-decade feminist flickers added another layer of exquisite cruelty. Women who rallied on barricades, sewing tricolors, nursing wounded volunteers, found post-war liberty meant returning to rigid roles. Arranged marriages, dowries, and domestic duty resumed with revolutionary zeal reversed. Yet some defied. Clandestine networks of midwives distributing early contraceptive knowledge, sponges, herbs, withdrawal whispered in Walloon dialects, defying church bans on interfering with God's plan. Maternal mortality remained merciless, childbirth a battlefield deadlier than any 1830 skirmish. Illegitimates shuttled to foundling wheels that spun like wheels of fortune reversed. Pamphlets from proto-feminist pens skewered the hypocrisy. We fought for Belgium's body, yet our own remained bonded. Delving deeper into the darkness, consider the era's treatment of deviant desires as stability settled. Homosexuality, though prosecutions rare in the chaotic decade, lingered as a spectral threat. Napoleonic sodomy clauses softened but not erased, with Catholic condemnation ensuring social suicide. Whispers of trials in military garrisons, volunteers caught in post-battle embraces, dishonorably discharged and damned eternally. Women's same-sex affections dismissed as particular friendships among the bourgeoisie, yet ruthlessly ruptured if rumored. Brutality veiled as virtue, emotional exile more cutting than any blade. Folklore, ever the faithful chronicler of forbidden fires, preserved pagan-tinged warnings beneath Catholic veneer. Flemish and Walloon tales spoke of seductive demons luring the lustful to watery graves in the Scheldt, or revolutionary ghosts haunting brothels, metaphors for the dangers of unregulated desire. Street ballads sung in taverns mocked the mighty. Kings may rule and clerics preach, but in the dark all passions reach. Industrial stirrings introduced new brutalities, factories in Ghent drawing rural women into urban anonymity, where low wages pushed many toward occasional prostitution, unregulated, unprotected. Venereal wards in hospitals overflowed, treatments with mercury more torturous than the disease. Ports like Antwerp swelled with sailors, French, British, even lingering Dutch, fueling a cosmopolitan carnal trade that defied national purity myths. As 1839's treaty closed the revolutionary chapter, sexual scandals intertwined with state-building symbolism. Leopold's marriage to Louise d'Orleans was paraded as pious paragon, yet court whispers hinted at his own youthful indiscretions abroad. The ultimate irony, a nation born screaming for freedom forged a society where sexual liberty lagged longest. Brothels regulated, streets risky, desires demonized. Class remained the cruelest canon. Elites indulged discreetly in private salons or Parisian jaunts, while workers faced workhouse threats or street perils. Bourgeois Brussels adopted Victorian veneer early, chaperoned waltzes, moralist literature, while the masses muddled in moral murk. Even early abolitionist whispers stirred by decade's end, decrying regulation as state-sponsored slavery foreshadowed mid-century battles. But in the 1830s, control was king. The darkest truth? Revolution freed Belgium from foreign yoke, only to yoke its people to internal ones heavier than any Dutch decree. And thus, my steadfast scandal soldiers, we finally lower the tricolor on this bonus Belgian bedroom blitz, proving that even as cannons cooled, carnal controls stayed scorching hot. Thank you for storming this extended exposé. May your own revolutions be far freer and infinitely less hypocritical.